The Miami Dolphins are not done making moves, and some of their roster could still be shaken up before the draft, let alone the start of training camp. The Dolphins got creative with their 2023 roster by making several restructures and designating Byron Jones as a June 1st cut. That move will bring Miami $13.5 million in savings. On June 1st, next year, the Dolphins have just as many decisions to make, and several players could be playing their final season as a member of the Dolphins. Miami will likely need to move on from some players for cap purposes, and if they survive this year, it will be hard to see them lasting beyond next season barring a big uptick in performance. Potential cut number 1. Jerome Baker, cap savings, $9.9 million. Many believed that Baker would be cut or traded this year, but his salary was too high and it was unrealistic for the Dolphins to eat $17 million against a minimal salary cap gain. In 2024, that number drops all the way to $4.9 million. Baker is under contract until 2026 and his salary is no longer guaranteed after the 2023 season, so if the Dolphins want to trade him, and there is a market, Miami should have options given the fact his salary will not be detrimental in doing so. The Miami Dolphins may or may not want Emmanuel Ogbah back this year after missing a lot of last season and having a down year, but his contract isn't good for a release. In 2024, Emmanuel Ogbah becomes an almost guaranteed release regardless of his production. Many thought he would be gone this year, but his cap numbers were not team-friendly. Potential cut number 2, Emmanuel Ogbah, cap savings, $13.8 million. Ogbah will carry a dead hit of $4 million next season, but the gain of over $13 is going to be hard to not pass up, especially after so much money has been thrown into next season by this year's group of restructured deals. Ogbah has to play better this year than he did when he was healthy, but if the Dolphins believe they can trade him next off-season, they may not find his contract conducive to doing so. Ogbah will count $17.8 million against the cap next year, and the rest of his contract isn't great either, with a hit of $18.9 million in 2025. The best savings will come next year, and even if Ogbah plays at a high level in 2023, the chances of him sticking around are not very good at this point. Many believe that after the low production year for Cedric Wilson that 2023 would see him released. So far, no. But next year, probably. Potential cut number 3, Cedric Wilson, Jr., $7.3 million savings. Wilson could have a big impact on this year's roster if he makes the team in August, but even that will not be a guarantee he remains beyond this season. With Trent Sherfield off to the Bills, the Dolphins should be ready to put Eric Ezukanma on the field more next year, and that would likely mean less time on the field for Wilson. Miami added Braxton Berrios to the roster this year, and that implies they have their return guy, and that also diminishes the value for Wilson. Wilson would cost the Dolphins $7 million in dead money this year if released, against a $1 million savings. Next year is completely different. It would be a surprise if Wilson was on the Dolphins roster past the 2023 season, and while he should see plenty of interested teams in 2024, he won't get another contract as he got with the Dolphins. There is a possibility that he could end up back with Dallas. Rumors and speculation surfaced this year that the Cowboys would be interested in bringing him back, but a trade was not likely given his salary. Jason Sanders will need to have a very big year in 2023 if he is going to stick around for the Miami Dolphins beyond this season. The Miami Dolphins didn't want to pay Thomas Morstead to stick around in Miami after he played on a league minimum deal last year, but Jason Sanders would actually save the team money. Potential cut number 4, Jason Sanders, cap savings, $3.3 million. Just over $3 million for a kicker these days isn't that bad, but that is if a kicker is consistent. In 2022, Sanders was better than he was the year before, but he still missed a few critical kicks that put Miami in bad positions on the field. This year, Sanders will count $3.7 million of the Dolphins' cap space. Releasing him this year would only free up $95,000 of cap space against over $3.5 million in dead money. Next year the Dolphins should finally out and get another kicker either through the draft or free agency. If Sanders plays very well this year and finds the form he displayed 3 seasons ago, maybe he stick around another year, but for now, it would be surprising if he made it through the 2024 off-season still on the Dolphins roster.